What's up, guys? Max here, and today we're going to be talking about Making a Sailor Episode 2. Okay, guys, we're back with Episode 2 of Making a Sailor. If you're new around here, my name is Max, and I am a Navy veteran. I did almost 14 years in the Navy and then got out. Currently living in Okinawa, Japan with my wife, who's active duty Navy. And I make these YouTube videos and have a podcast all about getting out of the military and life after the military. It's called The ScuttleButt Show, just like this channel is. You can find it linked in the description below. Hey, before we get started, I just want to give a shout out to Trident Coffee out in San Diego, making delicious cold brew coffee. This video is not sponsored. I just think it's good to support veteran-owned businesses in this time, especially if you're active duty or part of an active duty military family. We're one of the few who are not really being affected financially by the pandemic that's going on. So big shout out to Trident Coffee. Each day this week, I'll be wearing a different shirt from a veteran-owned business that I know or support. If you didn't see episode 1, it'll be linked in the description below. I'm going to be going through this series, hopefully finishing sometime this week. It's been pretty fun. It's been bringing back a lot of my boot camp memories, which I'll have to do a whole episode just talking about boot camp. So let me know what your boot camp experience was down in the comments below. If you can, hit that subscribe button before we proceed any further if you want to see more content like this. And with that being said, let's go ahead and get started. So last week we left off. They were just arriving, and this is picking up right where they left off. What did I get myself into?
Quickly, on the hop! Let's go! Let's go!
This guy looks like this is a chief.
Hurry up! Let's go, female! Hurry up! Hurry up! Let's go! Move faster, you!
This might be a senior chief, actually.
Night
Can't
of
tell.
arrival was just...
Get off the bus and get in the building! Move! Move! Move faster, you! Move!
I'm like, what did I get myself into?
So it was like 1 second we're on the bus, watching the little video, trying not to fall asleep. And then as soon as we get off the bus, like it's immediate screaming.
Let's go! Move! Move! Move faster, you!
Yep, that's it. It starts as soon as you get off the bus, and it's intense. It's fast paced, and the point of that is they don't want to give you a second to think. So if you have any time to think, that's when you're going to make bad choices. You have to be acting purely instinctively at this point, and you're always going to feel one step behind what's going on, and that's by design. You should feel the chaos. You should feel it's hectic. You should not be able to really keep track of what's going on. You're barely just able to keep up. And the point of that is basically they want you to follow directions without thinking about it, which is going to be pretty important in those first few days, as well as throughout the majority of boot camp and most of your career in the military. All right, let's go.
I remember getting yelled at. That's pretty much all I can remember is just getting yelled at.
Move! Move! Make 2 even rows! Move! Move! Let's go! Move down! Let's go! Look down! Look down!
I like that cameraman's working hard back there.
I'm a recruit division commander. The minute you get off the bus, there's going to be a lot of stress applied.
Chief Claw, like the bad guy in G.I. Joe or something. That's pretty good. I like that.
On you. The yelling, the go, 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 go. Can you do this? Can you get that done?
Who's got a
and
corpsman
it's up to
tattoo?
you to basically perform under pressure.
Look straight! Look straight! Welcome to the United States Navy. For the next 8 weeks, you will not do a single thing on your own. I tell you what to do, how to do it, when to do it. Nothing that I ever tell you is a request, an option, or a suggestion.
So they give you a direction, and you have
You will be
0.5
dealt
seconds to pay attention to it, to the letter. So
If you have good recruiters and a good DEP program, I don't know if they're still doing a thing where after you graduate boot camp, you can go back to your hometown and do some recruiter assistant stuff. HARP it was called when I joined the Navy. I did it once. Hometown assistant recruiter program where you go back and you kind of tell the other deputies what to expect in boot camp. I hope you're sharing. So if you know somebody who's joined the Navy or joined the military in whatever branch you were in, tell them what to expect those first few days of boot camp and kind of how to act right, because you can make someone's life a lot easier and make them a lot more effective by just giving them, don't spoil everything, but just give them a few tips on how to prepare for those first few minutes where things are totally out of control. Though you can't really be totally prepared until you experience it yourself. It's kind of, no matter how much you hear about it, you don't know until you do it.
You can't mess up. If you mess up, then that's on you, and it's really gonna fall back on you.
Then you will roll up your pant legs 3 inches up. When you are done, you will be on the toe line, standing straight, looking straight, awaiting further instruction. You have 15 seconds. Go! Go! Hurry up!
Let's go!
I said, behind you! Behind you! Not next to you!
Is that touching your heels? No, it's not! Fix it! Pull
Fix
your
your leg!
stuff!
Fix
Pull your
it!
stuff!
He said get down to the last shirt with sleeves. Maybe I wasn't loud enough. Maybe you couldn't understand me. Fix yourself now!
I thought it was gonna be a little bit more relaxed, but definitely isn't. A lot more intense than I did think it was gonna be.
Who said to stand like that? You must love getting special attention. Huh?
No, Chief.
Get that attention! Now! I'm pretty sure that I said your hands will never be behind you, your hands will never be in front of you! What is your problem? Medium. Proper military bearing will be maintained 24/7 and it starts tonight. Do you understand me?
Yes, Chief.
I can't hear you. Do you understand me?
Chief! Yeah, that was the hardest for me. Just to, like, not even argue the point. Just take it, yeah.
That's it. He kind of just said it right there. That's the key. You never talk back. You never argue, because it might, what you're seeing there is he's just standing the wrong way, but it's not about how he's standing. It's about following directions. So you could make a whole argument about like, well, who cares how I'm standing? Who cares if my hands are in front of me or behind me? What's the big deal? It's really not that. It's that you're following directions and that you have the mental bearing capacity to to follow all the instructions correctly, even though it's really chaotic. So it's not necessarily about the specific thing. It's about the idea of maintaining a clear headspace and doing what you're supposed to be doing, even when things are totally out of control and when you're very fatigued and tired and stressed. Those are the skills that you're actually learning in boot camp. So anyway, let's go.
This row's gonna fall out, and then that row. Let's go.
Let's go, fall out, move out faster. Let's go, get over here.
All the way go down that line right there. Keep going. All the way down to the end. Hey! Why don't I point right here? Go. Go. That girl's lost in the sauce. Let's go. Let's go. Hurry up. Hurry up and get down there.
Look down. Touch it.
Hey, you, get him back. Get him back. Get him back.
I just saw the girl with the Victoria's Secret bag, and now I'm kind of looking around. If possible, if you don't want to stand out, try to show up to boot camp with the most plain clothes and the least like flashy brands and colors possible. It's not the time to bring your nicest name brand bag. If you can just get like a JanSport or something, do yourself a favor. Try not to stand out. Unless you want that, unless you want to make it harder, then, show up, with some crazy neon colored, big fancy gear. It'll just draw attention to you.
We got our sea bag, which was the big green duffel bag that you have to carry. You take all of your personal items off, like all of your clothing, your shoes, everything you arrived in. You put it in a box, including your cell phone, and ship it home. And then you get brand new everything, from t-shirts that we're wearing to the PT clothes to sneakers. Nothing that you came with, aside from maybe a hairbrush and a few personal items, gets to stay with you. I knew that I would have to carry my own luggage, like there was no bellman service.
I don't know if they'll talk about it here. I don't really remember what we got to keep with us. I remember like you go into this room, you get totally naked with like 100 other people, all same gender, and then you change your clothes into your PT gear, which is what they're wearing now. When I went through boot camp, it was different. It was blue sweatpants and a white t-shirt, and then a blue sweatshirt and some like New Balance sneakers, which look like the shoes are pretty similar, but the rest of the gear is changed. And you get like a sea bag full of stuff. But then within a couple days, you get this like recruit money. So I wonder if they'll talk about this. You get like this recruit money, which is actually real money that they deduct from your first paychecks. And you get to go to the store and you buy a toothbrush, you buy toothpaste, you buy deodorant, whatever it is, a little ditty bag. I think you get that when you get there. A ditty bag is like where you put your toiletries. and you go in there and it's like teaching you how to shop at the Navy Exchange basically. But don't be fooled. You're spending your own money. Okay, here we go.
But I didn't expect all of my things to be that heavy. Like when I was filling it up, I was like, okay, great. This is so convenient. Everything fits in this little green bag. Wonderful. And then I had to put it on and it wasn't so wonderful anymore.
I always joke that the only reason you have to stay fit in the military is to carry your gear around. That is just, if you're joining the military, just get ready. You're going to be carrying gear around a lot. Another time, I'll tell you the funny story about the first time I ever got to my first ship.
Okay, then
Crazy.
fix it now!
I've been up since 3 in the morning since last night, and I don't know how I'm awake right now at this moment. And I've been on my feet, and my feet are dying.
You're up for like the first 3 days
that's it.
straight.
I'm exhausted. My arms feel like they're gonna fall off, and it's not fun yet.
I didn't even know. I didn't even sleep at mix. Yeah, I nearly fell asleep standing. So
I am naturally standing at attention right now. Not even trying to, but
It's definitely getting a lot tougher for recruits.
Pretty sure I said you will sound off.
Yes, Chief.
Huh?
Yes, Chief.
Did I say walk back on the tow line? I didn't. Do you know where you're at?
Brutal.
Respond! Say something! Yes, Chief. No, Chief. Maybe, Chief. What is it?
Yes, Chief.
Because responding is not an option.
from what other people would say, and like how they said that they've gone a bit softer because of like the era that we're in, but no, I think it's still kind of the same.
There is a reason for everything that we do here. We do instill that pressure.
I could sit here and say that boot camp was harder when I went through, and it's only gotten easier. And, you know, kids nowadays have it so easy. They don't have to go march around. That's, I think it's all the same. Like there were things that were different when I went through than somebody 10 years before me. And there used to be boot camp at San Diego and Orlando, Florida, and Great Lakes. And then there was only Great Lakes, and, you know, and then facilities get nicer, but fundamentally the lessons you learn in boot camp, the experience that you have is always going to be the same. I think that the PTs are going to be the same. The expectations are going to be the same. The things you have to learn are going to be the same. The stress is going to be the same, because stress is not created by the building that you're in. It's not created by the barracks. It's not created by the food. It's created by the people, and the people don't change. So I expect that their experience was, even though it was in a different building, even though it was in a different era of technology and like cell phones, and the way that they learn has probably changed. Like I imagine there's probably some computer-based stuff or whatever. We used to carry around all our books, or like Ricky workbooks, but the experience is gonna, I'm pretty sure, be basically the same as mine and anybody else's. Don't be a hater.
So what is it doing next to you, huh? Let me guess. You want, no! Now you want to fix it. Maybe had you just done the right thing the first time, you wouldn't be in this situation.
Because again, when you do get to the fleet, we want to make sure that you fight and you don't fold.
It's nothing like boot camp. It's nothing like Navy boot camp. You are joining the United States Navy. I expected it to be hard.
No. I'm not a sir! No, Chief. I'm not a chief!
It's funny to listen to people who are in boot camp or like recently got out of boot camp talk about the Navy and how it is, because your experience is pretty limited at that point. Your scope is pretty limited. It's only way later in your career, way later in your life even, that you can look back on boot camp and kind of really understand the purpose of things, the reason that things are the way that they are, how it all makes sense, how to put the pieces together. You definitely don't know anything on day two. You're like, oh man, Navy boot camp, let me tell you about it. But you really, you really have a different perspective years later after having done it than you do when you're in it, or if you've recently graduated.
I tell them all the time, this is more your Navy than it is mine. You know, years from now, I'm gonna retire and you're gonna take over my spot. And I let them know that I wanna make sure I can tell my wife and kid that we're safe at night, because there's tough people in the Navy, and I know for sure because I put them in.
But we're gonna be going down the speedway.
The haircuts thing is kind of funny because it might look, if you're watching, that getting the haircut is kind of like stressful or somehow a big deal. It honestly happens so fast. You're going through an assembly line of people. You're in that chair for like 1 minute. You don't even have time to think about it. You honestly don't even notice it. It's kind of a break at that point to sit down and kind of just get a haircut, and you can zone out for like, 1 or 2 minutes, and then you're back on your feet, standing in line, not leaning against the wall, out in the hallway, being totally silent. People are screaming at you. It's one of probably the easier moments is getting a haircut. So don't be too stressed about that.
Falls from the left means the left brake.
I was Division 249 in boot camp.
Everybody will go down the speedway in a single file line. So on. Do you understand that? Yes. You have to get a little louder than that for me. Yes, all right, so count the files from the left. Last recruit, sound off. Last recruit, fall out. Stand by.
From there, once we receive them, we put them in divisions. So we assign them to the divisions as we need them, and then around 03:30 in the morning, once everybody goes through that entire process, then the in-processing barracks team picks them up and takes them to chow, and from there, later on a few hours from there, they'll meet their recruit division commander.
Let's go, hurry up. 2 per bunk.
The racks look the same as when I went in.
Yeah, I just want to get boot camp finished.
I like challenges, and I feel like this is a challenge, and I'm gonna beat it. I'm going to graduate without doubt. It's going to happen.
I have a very set goal of what I'm here to do. If I have to get yelled at, I'm getting yelled at, and that's fine. But in 8 weeks, I plan on being out of here. So I don't have time to fight with anyone or to get in any type of trouble or get set back, because that's not what I'm here for. Just in and out and move on.
Just get out of here. Yeah, just get out of here.
I want to graduate.
Just do it, okay? Whatever is happening in boot camp, you're not always going to feel like it's not always going to be fair. You're going to get in trouble for other people's mistakes. You're going to get yelled at for no reason. It's going to feel like you can't do anything right. There's going to be things that you don't understand at the time, but you just have to do it. Try to absorb as much of it as possible, because it'll all make sense later down the road. I hope it should start to all make sense later down the road, but you just have to do it. You just have to smile, have a positive mental attitude, and push through the whole thing. Okay. Just do it. It's too easy.
Like I thought it just comes with going to boot camp that you were going to graduate, but you have to earn it. So yeah, it's definitely harder than I thought it was.
All right, guys, that's it. That's episode 2 of Making a Sailor. I'm excited to see where this goes. I'm definitely looking forward to following along. It's bringing back a lot of memories. Like I was Division 249, Ship 9. I don't remember what Ship 9 was. It's definitely not there anymore. They knocked down all those buildings and built new buildings at Great Lakes. But Ship 9, I was Division 249. I remember my RDC's names. I worked in the Navy with a couple of my RDCs later down the road. One came to the ship that I was on, the USS Ronald Reagan aircraft carrier, and then another one came to a squadron that I was in when I was working on the helicopters. So it's funny. It's a small Navy. You'll hear them say it's a small Navy, but it really is. So whenever you meet somebody in the Navy or in the military, if you're a Marine, Army, whatever, if you go to boot camp, your reputation begins there and it sticks with you, because you run into people all the time that you met years ago. It's crazy. Just expect it. Okay. So that's it for today's video. I am going to be trying to finish this series this week, and I will get the rest of these out to you guys. If you haven't had a chance to go subscribe to the ScuttleButt Show podcast, make sure you get over there. It's a podcast all about the military, all about getting out of the military, all about veteran-owned businesses. Got some exciting guests this week, and there's content coming out there all the time. Really, really good stuff. Get down there. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button, drop a like, drop a comment. I'd love to see what you guys think, and I will talk to you soon. Bye.